Today we're going to be tearing down a 2022 Honda CRF450R. So recently we did a full rebuild on the motor, top and bottom end. Now we're going to replace the left side crankcase cover because we went riding this weekend and chain snapped and put a massive crack in our left side. First we're going to start by taking the seat off, all the plastics, and the exhaust. Okay, put that up here, out of the way. Start grabbing our bolts. I think I dropped one here. Our radiators are a little bent, so we had to zip tie them. Just going to cut those off. We'll place it later. Set those off to the side. Off. So you can keep the rear fender and these few plastics, but all the main plastics need to come off, and then you can start working on the gas tank and the subframe. Still got to pull the exhaust off. There are two 12mm bolts on the front header. Might be a little muddy. All in hand. It's all loose. We can get this center clamp out. Now that you have the exhaust loose, they'll just slide right off. Make lots of room. I recommend, if you have it, to put all your parts in labeled plastic bags. It'll make reassembling 10 times easier. You won't have to think twice about what goes where. Alright, now we can keep on keeping on. To remove the gas tank, we just got one bolt up top and this little holder so it doesn't fly off when you crash. Pulls up. You've got a fuel inlet here and one plug for the fuel pump. Just remove those. comes off easy. Then our gas tank should slide right out. Find a safe place to put it. It shouldn't leak any gas because it's not on. It's not pulling any down. Alright, once the gas tank is off, we can go ahead and start on our subframe. Okay, we have 4 bolts, 2 on each side. Put those in a safe place. Now we're going to take off the intake. Intake hooks up to the air box in the subframe. There's also, I want to say 4 electrical connections on the rear of the subframe you're going to want to disconnect. That's where our screwdriver comes in handy. I think I need to come around this front side. Alright, all the electrical is now off. We're going to want to take a Phillips head screwdriver and remove this intake piece that connects to the air box. Little wiggle and a little pull, should come right off. Okay, now your subframe is completely removed. Go ahead and set that off to the side. Now we're left with swing arm, intake and fuel injection, and a few more other things. Shouldn't have to take the radiators off to do this. I haven't tried it yet that way, but we're going to find that out. Okay, take off the front clamp for the intake. Comes straight off of the back of the motor. Once that's loose, it should wiggle. Now this is ready to pull up and off. I like to just lean it over here, keep it out of the way. Then you don't have to mess with any of the throttle cables and readjust that later. Got a few wires down here. Need to unplug. All of our electrical should be out of the way. We can go ahead and start removing the swing arm. Going to start with the 17 millimeter bolt on the top. If you don't have an impact, you can just use a ratchet. It's going to speed up my process a little bit. Okay. Grab a mallet and a punch. Okay. And lift that up, it'll slide down. Okay, now that the shock is disconnected on both sides, I'm going to take those and put them in a safe spot. All these bolts, it's kind of hard to keep track of them all. This one was on the floor. Now we'll be removing the rear brake. Which is held on by a 8 millimeter hex. And two 5 millimeter hex bolts. Go ahead and put those two 5 mil hexes back in. Won't lose them. You'll know exactly where they are when you need to come back and take them. Okay, now that that's hanging loose, we can take the swing arm main bolts out. Looks like we've got Peanut waking up over here. It's a 22 millimeter. That off. Now we can get back to our hammer action. It's pulled out, thankfully. Put that in a safe place over here. Keep everything organized. That's how we like it. Now that all that's disconnected, there goes the rear subframe, or the swing arm. Sorry. Gonna set that off to the side as well. Readjust our bike, what's left of it. And now we're down to just really the motor left and some radiator hoses. All the clips are off. You're gonna have to take the battery box off. It's usually forgotten. The clutch needs to come off. So we'll go ahead and start with those. I like to take a clamp for when I get the clutch off. It's 3 pieces that hold in together. Makes it a lot easier. Keep it assembled. Sprocket guard first. Keep those intact. Put that over here. One of these little pieces keeps slipping off. Oh, Peanut wants to say hi. Here's Peanut. He's watching me build today. Try to watch the wife's dog, make sure he stays calm. All right. Back to the clutch. Okay, put this clamp, it's like a wood clamp, around those panels. You can hook it anywhere on the bike, wherever your heart desires. I like to put it under the number plate. Okay, let's see, what do we have left? Battery needs to come off. It's an 8mm on the front. And then there is a backside bolt to it. Right in here. Put all the battery bolts in one place. Now where we come back to, there's some grounds. There's 2 grounds that hold the battery on. Okay. It's going to be a 10mm and a 8mm. Okay. Both of those are off. Make sure we get our nut. Set that back off to the side. Guess I didn't put this in a safe enough place. I'll fix that. There we go. It's hooked on now. Take the spark plug coil pack out. We're going to have to take these radiator hoses off and drain the coolant. Unfortunately, there's no more oil in the bike. It has leaked out all over my floor in the shop. So that's very fun. Like to go ahead and start down here by the water pump drain. Release the pressure, it'll all start coming out. Oh, thought it was done. It was not. Now it's done. We can put that on. Not too tight. It's not going anywhere. Put our cap back on. Set this off to the side. Okay, now we're going to be taking off a couple radiator hoses. You might leak some coolant here, so if you've got a little peanut hanging around like me, clean that up before you set them back down, or they're gonna die. Take all the lower clamps off. You don't have to take the upper part of the radiator off the hoses. They're gonna come off regardless what side you're on. Just get those loose. We lost a hose clamp down there. This one's a little stiff still. Doesn't want to pop over that hump down there. Alright, there we go. Tighten these back so I don't lose them. Well, if they will tighten. Guess we'll leave these for later. Got our hose clamps off to the side. All of our wires are disconnected. Harness is good. Okay. Now all we have left is the brackets to hold the motor in. There's one that goes straight through the bottom of the case, two of these upper hanger bolts, and then this bracket on the front end right there. Should only need a 12 and a 14 millimeter socket and a 10 millimeter socket. Dropping everything over here. It's cold today, you know? Everything's tight, everything hurts more. Okay, now that both of those are off, set those to the side. Now we have these ones in the front. Of course, we're getting sloppy over here. Go ahead and re-thread all these bolts back into the brackets so you don't lose track of them. When you're putting it back together, it'll save you a lot of pain. These last two, and then the bottom one. It's okay to drop stuff, you know. It's part of the game. We're going to clean it all up later. Nothing's damaged. Now for that main bottom bolt. It's out of there. Everything back where it goes. put these clamps together. Like to reassemble. Okay, now the motor should be loose. Gonna take our hat off. Can't always be a cowboy. Make sure there's nothing holding me back. All right. Uh-oh. Some of these hoses are in the way. It might be easier taking the radiators off. But once we're like this, I can really get this shifter off pretty easily. This that doesn't really want to come off, we can tap it with our mallet real quick. Now it slid right off. Go ahead and thread the bolt back into that. Okay. Some hoses in our way. Oh. Just to save me a little trouble, I'm going to go ahead and take the radiators off. Okay, we're going to use our wrench to get the top bolts off. Okay, that bolts out. Other side. Now that that bolt's out, one more clamp and those will slide off. Screwdriver. Doesn't matter which side, just one of them. It's just got to be able to slide off. There we go. Both radiators are off. We're going to set those to the side as well. Make sure you clear a good spot for the motor to go when you take it out. We'll put those back in a minute. Just want to be efficient. Alright, we're going to set the motor down. Keep the bike from landing on my head. Now that we've got the motor out, I'm going to put it on the table, take a look. Alright, that's how to remove the motor from your 2022 CRF450R. Here is the CRF450R motor out on the table. As you can see, it's pretty filthy. We're going to come back when this is clean.